Listen to me. Life will scare you. There's no avoiding it. You're gonna face storms that shake your soul, moments that freeze your breath, and situations that make you wanna run the other way. But here's the truth. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is the door. And on the other side of that door, that's where your power lies. You think bravery is about being fearless. No, bravery is about standing in the fear, shaking, sweating, crying, and still saying, I'm not backing down. Some of you are waiting for the fear to go away before you move. Newsflash, it won't. Life's not waiting. Opportunities aren't waiting. Your purpose is not waiting. So what or why are you gonna do when life gets scary? Are you gonna fold? Or are you gonna fight? You've got something inside you, a fire, a strength, a reason. And it's time to rise up and grab hold of it. You wanna know how to be brave? You decide that what you're chasing is more important than what you're afraid of. Let's go. ChatGPT said most people spend their lives running from fear. They avoid it, hide it, pretend it doesn't exist. They wear a mask, keep a fake smile, act like they've got everything under control. But deep down they're terrified of failure, of rejection, of loss, of not being enough. And the truth is, you cannot conquer what you refuse to confront. You cannot win a battle if you won't even show up to the fight. That's why the very first step to being brave when life gets scary is this: face it, don't fake it. You see, fear feeds off silence. It grows in the dark. The more you avoid it, the more power it gains. But the moment you look fear in the eye, the moment you call it out and say, yeah, I'm scared, but I'm still here, that's when the shift begins. That's when courage starts to rise. Faking it might work for a while. You might fool the people around you. You might even fool yourself temporarily. But at some point, life will press you hard. The storm will hit. The pressure will build. And if you haven't done the work, the internal work of facing your fears, you will break. Because fake bravery doesn't hold up when life gets real. You need something deeper. You need truth. Facing fear is not about being reckless. It's not about pretending to be some superhero who feels nothing. No, it's about being real with yourself. It's about saying, I'm afraid, but I won't let that stop me. That's where real power is born. Not in denial, but in acceptance and decision. You can be afraid and still move forward. You can be unsure and still show up. That's bravery. Let me tell you something most people won't. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is not weakness. Fear is part of the process. It's a signal that you're stepping into something that matters. It's a sign you're stretching, growing, stepping outside the safe little box you've been living in. If you're never scared, you're not playing big enough. If life never rattles you, you're not chasing something that really challenges you. And this is why so many people stay stuck, because they think bravery means not feeling fear. So the moment fear shows up, they shrink. They think, I guess I'm not cut out for this. And they quit. But you're not meant to quit. You're meant to face it. You're meant to step up, not step back. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It's movement in spite of it. Let's get real. Life will scare you. It will hit you with things you didn't expect. Pain, loss, change, uncertainty. These are all part of the deal. But what separates the brave from the broken is the response. When fear shows up, the brave don't lie to themselves. They don't pretend. They don't numb it with distractions or bury it under fake confidence. They face it. They name it. They own it. and then they get to work. Because once you face it, fear loses its grip. You realize it's not a monster. It's a mirror. It shows you where you need to grow. It shows you what matters to you. It shows you the gap between where you are and who you could become. And if you're bold enough to face it, it will lead you straight to the life you're meant to live. Let's talk about what happens when you stop faking it and start facing it. You gain clarity. You get honest with yourself. You stop wasting energy trying to hide and start using that energy to heal, to build, to rise. You become dangerous, not to others, but to every excuse and limitation that ever try to hold you back. And don't get it twisted. This is not easy. It takes work. It takes humility. It takes being willing to feel uncomfortable, to sit with fear instead of running from it. But it's worth it. Because the moment you stop running is the moment you start rising. So today, ask yourself, what have I been pretending not to be afraid of? What fear have I been stuffing down, hoping it would just go away? Bring it into the light. Speak it out loud. Write it down. Name it. And then make a decision. Not to eliminate it, but to confront it. To stand in front of it and say, I see you, but I'm not backing down. Because that is where bravery begins. Not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of truth. Not in faking strength, but in facing weakness and choosing to rise anyway. That's what it means to be brave when life gets scary. Now go face it. ChatGPT said fear is real, but so is purpose. And when fear starts whispering in your ear, when it tries to paralyze you, when it makes your hands shake and your voice crack, the only thing that can override that fear is your why. The truth is, every time you choose to be brave, it's not because the fear disappeared. It's because your purpose, your reason, your mission, your dream became louder than your doubt. When your why is bigger than your fear, nothing can stop you. Let me say it straight, people don't fail because they're afraid. People fail because they forget what they're fighting for. They lose sight of the reason. They start focusing on the fear. And when you stare at fear too long, it grows. But if you lift your eyes to the vision, if you remember why you started, who you're doing it for, what's at stake, then fear starts to shrink because your focus determines your fire. And fire will burn through fear every time. Think about the strongest people you know. The ones who overcame impossible odds. They didn't do it because they were never scared. They did it because they had to. Because they had a reason so big, so personal, so powerful, that quitting was not an option. That's what a why does. It makes fear irrelevant. It turns obstacles into fuel. It reminds you that this isn't just about comfort or convenience. It's about something deeper. So what's your why? Is it your family? Your future? Your freedom? Is it proving to yourself that you're not who the world said you were? Is it breaking the cycle so the next generation doesn't have to start where you did? Because if you don't have a clear why, fear will always win. Fear thrives in confusion. Purpose is the antidote. When you know your why, you can walk through fire. You can keep moving with tears in your eyes. You can stand back up even after the world knocks you flat. That's the power of purpose. It gives pain meaning. It gives struggle value. It turns suffering into sacrifice, and that shift changes everything. There will be moments when you want to give up. There will be nights you lie awake asking if it's worth it. Fear will try to make you small. It will tell you that it's too hard, that you're not ready, that you're alone. And that's when your why has to speak louder. That's when your why has to rise up and shout. I didn't come this far to quit now. This is where the brave are separated from the comfortable. Comfortable people listen to fear. Brave people listen to their purpose. And I promise you, the moment your why becomes clear and powerful, your mindset changes. You stop looking for an escape route and start looking for a breakthrough. You stop negotiating with fear and start confronting it. This doesn't mean the fear goes away completely. It means it no longer controls you. You might still feel it, but it won't stop you. Why? Because you've got something worth fighting for. You've got something that matters more than playing it safe. And that's the key. You must believe that what you're chasing is more valuable than what you're afraid of losing. People who walk and think about what could go wrong. People who walk in purpose focus on what must go right. And that shift in perspective makes all the difference. Because fear will always offer you a way out. But your purpose will keep calling you back in. When life gets scary, and it will, you don't need to be superhuman. You just need to remember your why. Remind yourself daily. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Visualize it. Tattoo it on your mind. Because if you lose your why, you lose your way. Bravery isn't about feeling ready. It's about being committed to something bigger than yourself. It's about chasing something so meaningful, so necessary, that fear becomes a secondary concern. And when that happens, you move different. You fight different. You become relentless. You stop asking for permission and start claiming what's already yours. So if fear is screaming in your ear right now, if life feels overwhelming and you're tempted to back down, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, why did I start? Who am I doing this for? What's the cost if I don't keep going? Because the answer to fear isn't courage. It's clarity. Clarity of purpose. Clarity of vision. Clarity of heart. And that clarity will give you the strength to stand, to rise, to keep pushing even when everything inside you wants to run. Let your why lead the way. Let it pull you through the dark. Let it remind you that you are here for a reason, that you're built for more, that this fear, no matter how loud, is nothing compared to the fire inside you. And when you walk with that kind of conviction, fear can knock, but it won't move you because you've got your eyes locked on the mission. And once your why is stronger than your fear, the battle is already won. You don't have to feel ready to take the next step. You don't have to wait until the fear disappears. You don't need to have all the answers, all the confidence, or a perfect plan. What you need is to move, even if you're scared. That's the secret. That's the breakthrough. You do it scared. This is the moment where most people get stuck. They think bravery is something that shows up before action. They're waiting to feel brave so they can act, but that's not how it works. Bravery is not the fuel, it's the result. You act first, you step forward first, and then the courage shows up. You do it scared, and in the doing, you discover just how powerful you really are. Let's be honest, fear isn't going anywhere. It will show up every time you level up. Every time you decide to break a pattern, chase a dream, or do something new, fear will try to talk you out of it. It's not a sign you're weak. It's a sign you're stepping into growth. So if you're waiting for the fear to vanish before you move, you'll be waiting your whole life. Bravery isn't born in comfort. It's born in the chaos. In the trembling hands, the racing heart, the shaky voice. It's born in those moments when everything in you is saying, sit down, and you decide to stand up anyway. It's not polished. It's not pretty, but it's real. And that kind of raw courage, that changes lives. Think about it. Every great story, every person who's ever done something extraordinary, they did it scared. They launched a business scared. They gave the speech scared. They made the move, had the conversation, took the leap, scared. They didn't let fear stop them. They walked through it. And that's what made them strong. The truth is, fear will never feel convenient. It will never arrive at a time when everything is perfect. But fear isn't the enemy. In fact, sometimes fear is proof that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Because it means you're stretching. You're challenging yourself. You're pushing into territory that's unfamiliar. And that's where growth happens. Doing it scared doesn't mean being reckless. It means being committed. It means choosing to honor your vision more than your emotions. It means not letting temporary feelings dictate your long-term destiny. Fear is a feeling. Courage is a decision. So when fear rises, you rise higher. You have to train yourself to act, not react. Fear will trigger every excuse you've ever believed about yourself. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What if I fail? But your job is not to argue with fear. Your job is to move. Because action breaks fear's grip. Every time you move, even if it's a small step, you chip away at its power. You build momentum. You build trust in yourself. And that trust, that's everything. When you do it scared and realize, hey, I didn't fall apart, you start to believe in your own strength. And belief is a force. It's what keeps you going when the world tells you to quit. It's what fuels you through the resistance. There's a moment, that terrifying, beautiful moment, right before you act, where fear is loudest. It's screaming, don't do it. What if you fail? What if people laugh? What if you're not enough? And that's the moment you must lean in. You take the breath, you feel the fear, and you move anyway. This is not about perfection. It's not about getting it right every time. It's about refusing to be paralyzed. It's about showing up imperfectly and doing your best. That's bravery, not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let it win. And the more you do it, the more fearless you become. Not because the fear is gone, because you've proven to yourself that it doesn't control you. You've trained yourself to act in the face of it. You've learned that fear is just a feeling, not a fact. Doing it scared also teaches you to trust the process, to take one step at a time. You don't need to see the whole path, just the next step. That's how the mountain gets climbed. That's how dreams become real. One scary, shaky, determined step at a time. So here's the truth, you're going to be scared. Life's going to challenge you. And you're going to have moments where you feel completely unqualified, but your fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal that something meaningful is on the other side, and you don't need to eliminate fear to move forward. You just need to be willing to carry it with you, to walk with it, to say, you can come with me, but you don't get to drive, though it's scared. Say yes when your knees are shaking. Speak up when your voice cracks. Show up when it's uncomfortable. Because the version of you that's brave, bold, and unstoppable, that version is built in the fire. And you don't find the fire unless you're willing to step into it afraid. You've got what it takes. Even if fear says you don't, even if the voice in your head is screaming doubt, take the step, show up messy, Show up nervous. Just show up, because the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the fear you're willing to walk through. Do it scared. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. It's not the booming voice shouting confidence from a mountaintop, but the whisper inside you saying, try again tomorrow. Being brave doesn't always feel heroic. Often, it feels like standing barefoot in the storm, soaked in uncertainty, heart racing, voice trembling, still daring to take that one more step. Life will get scary. That's not a maybe, it's a guarantee. You will lose people you love. You will face rejection, failure, betrayal, illness, and heartbreak. There will be moments when you look up and whisper, I don't know if I can do this. There will be days when getting out of bed feels like a marathon. There will be nights when your thoughts feel louder than the world, when the fear of the unknown wraps around you like a cold fog. But that is exactly when bravery is born. Not when everything is calm and perfect, but in the chaos, in the questions, in the moments where you're deeply unsure. Bravery is quiet. It's waking up when the weight of depression tells you to stay asleep. It's applying for that job after your confidence was shattered. It's calling a friend when isolation has taken root. It's showing up to life when every bone in your body wants to give up. And it's forgiving yourself when you can't. See, we often imagine courage as something grand, like running into a burning building or standing on a stage, speaking your truth to thousands. And those are courageous acts. But more often, courage is deeply personal. It's deciding to face the day after your world has fallen apart. It's choosing vulnerability even when you fear rejection. It's trusting yourself even when you have every reason to doubt. Courage is a muscle, and fear is its weight. The more you face it, the stronger you become. You may think you're not brave because you're afraid. But I want to tell you something. Most people won't. Your fear is proof that you're still alive. It means you care. It means you're invested. And being afraid doesn't disqualify you from being brave. It qualifies you. Because courage isn't found in people who never feel fear. It's found in those who dog and keep going anyway. We all want certainty. We all crave control. But life is not a map. It's not a straight line. It's a wilderness. And the truth is, nobody really knows what they're doing. We're all stumbling through the dark, pretending we've got it figured out. But here's the secret. The people you admire are the ones who seem so bold and fearless. They feel it too. They've just learned how to dance with it. They've learned that fear is not a stop sign. It's a compass pointing toward growth. You become brave by doing scary things. You become brave by failing and trying again. You become brave not all at once, but decision by decision. Every time you show up, every time you speak up, every time you choose to believe in a future you cannot see. Maybe you've been waiting for a moment when you won't feel afraid anymore. But what if that moment never comes? What if the miracle isn't fear leaving, but you're moving anyway? What if bravery isn't found in the absence of your shaky hands or your racing heart, but in what you choose to do while they're still shaking? There is no version of your life where fear doesn't exist, but there is a version where it doesn't win. So when life gets scary, when everything feels uncertain, unfamiliar, unpredictable, don't shrink. Don't numb yourself. Don't give in to the illusion that comfort equals safety. Comfort zones are beautiful, but nothing ever grows there. If you want to evolve, If you want to live, truly live, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable, because courage lies on the other side of discomfort. It waits for you just beyond the edge of what feels familiar. This is not about pretending you're fearless. This is about choosing truth over comfort, growth over safety, forward over frozen. It's about deciding that your purpose is greater than your panic, that your dreams are more powerful than your doubts. It's about knowing you were not put on this earth to live a small life ruled by what ifs and worst case scenarios. You were made to expand, to stretch, to transform. Bravery is in you. It always has been. It's the reason you've made it this far. Every scar on your soul is proof that you've survived something you once thought would break you. You've already walked through fire. You've already weathered storms that would have sunk others. And you're still here. So don't let fear write your story. Don't let doubt become your compass. The world will try to tell you to play small. It will hand you reasons to give up, to blend in, to stay safe. But you weren't born to live half a life. You weren't born to tiptoe around pain, hoping to avoid it. You were born to rise, to stand up even when you're trembling, to keep walking even with tears in your eyes, to speak even if your voice shakes, to try again even after falling flat, to love even after heartbreak, to believe again even after losing faith. And no, it's not easy. It was never supposed to be. But the hard things are often the most meaningful, because in choosing bravery again and again, you become someone the world desperately needs. Someone with empathy, with grit, with light in their eyes and strength in their spine. Someone who has been broken but chose to heal. Someone who has been afraid and yet chose to lead. Someone who knows what it means to fall, and get back up anyway. And maybe, just maybe, your bravery becomes someone else's hope. Maybe your willingness to be real, to share your struggle, your journey, your stumbles and victories, becomes a light in someone else's darkness. That is the quiet power of courage, and it's contagious. When you rise, others do too. So if you're in the middle of fear right now, if life has knocked the wind out of you, if you're paralyzed by what might happen next, pause, breathe, and remember, this bravery is not about being ready. It's about being willing. Willing to show up, willing to feel, willing to risk, willing to grow. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be the strongest, the smartest, or the most confident. You just need to begin, because the most powerful thing you'll ever do is simply not give up, especially when it would be easier to quit. This life is messy, it's unpredictable, it's raw and real and filled with both magic and pain. But within you is everything you need to face it. Not because you'll always get it right, not because you'll always feel brave, but because you are willing to try again and again and again. So take the leap, say the words, make the call, try the thing, tell the truth, start the journey. Let fear be your fuel, not your cage. Let it remind you that you're alive. Let it sharpen your focus and push you to grow. And when the world feels shaky and you feel small, just remember, every great story begins with uncertainty. Every powerful transformation begins with a moment of fear, but only if you choose to keep going. So choose it. Be brave. Even now, especially now.